Hi, everyone. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science. You're tuning in this evening from all over. The Zoom board is lighting up. We have people on the call from California, the Midwest, Europe, everywhere, Dominican Republic. So whether you're here live at the center or joining us on Zoom or watching later on Facebook or YouTube, I want you to know that each and every one of you matter. You're each important to us. Your presence, each of you, adds something important and powerful to our space, our virtual space. We say it often, and it's worth repeating. You're not just watching a program, you're part of something. It's a sacred virtual digital gathering that reaches hundreds of people. At this point, thousands actually every week. People who are doing healing, people who are asking deep questions and showing up in the most honest way, courageous way they know how. And you're doing it right here with us. And so that means a lot to me. It means that you're one of us. This again is First Church of Religious Science, and this is our Thursday evening self-healing class, our Louise Hay class. This class has its roots right here at First Church because Louise Hay was a member here, a practitioner. She was part of the team. She always carried a vision of self-healing, and her vision, as she developed it more and more, was a vision that would later touch millions of people around the world. And we get to keep that flame alive here every Thursday night. And you can, all of our broadcasts, by the way, are the same Zoom links and can be heard again on YouTube. And we really love it when you join our channel, our YouTube channel. That helps us tremendously. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different, not just because we have a new title or it's a new week, but because we're going to take it a little bit deeper than usual. Most of you have already done some of this work or done other healing work. I'm sure most of you know how to do affirmations by now. You know the importance of forgiveness. Some of you do journaling and meditation. And I'd be willing to hazard a guess that a lot of folks on the call have cleaned up or done some work on eliminating their old patterns. Maybe you've walked away from some old stories or let go of relationships or different things that don't serve you very well anymore. And yet, all that work, all that being said, there's still something underneath. Maybe it's a whisper still of shame or a trace of self-doubt or a feeling that your light has been somewhat dimmed, or it's not completely gone. Maybe it's covered up a bit still. So today, this evening, we're reaching in to fan that flame. We're reaching for that hidden glow, the part of you that never went out. And so our title is Your Inner Glow. We want to get at the you that's beneath the story, the you that's always been radiant, even if no one told you that you are radiant when you needed to hear it the most. Louise said the point of power is always in the present moment. And that means we're not here to rehash the past or fix something broken. We come here to recognize that your glow, your true spiritual identity, has never been lost. Maybe it's been buried, maybe it's been dismissed, maybe even shamed, but it's never been extinguished. So if someone told you that you were too much or that you weren't enough, if you bought into any of that, or that something about you had to be hidden to be accepted, tonight we begin the process of handling all of that back, all of that that's not yours to carry anymore. So tonight we begin the process again of taking another look at what's ours to carry and what's ours to release. We want to in this class reclaim our light, the light that couldn't ever really truly be dimmed. So let's take a breath together collectively. Draw in a deep breath and let it go. And let your body land where you are. Let your heart soften up a little bit. Let your spirit rise. Let your spirit rise, because it will, if you just let it. And let's begin this wonderful evening. I want to tell you first about a quick story, something I encountered that I liked a lot. Not from a textbook or a science journal, but from the life of a real-life person in history. That history, by the way, almost forgot or almost didn't discover. And I was happy to discover as I was preparing my lesson this week. In 1943, that's not that long ago, a woman named Alma Thomas applied for admission to a local art school. And maybe some of you know of her. She's actually kind of well known. I just didn't know who she was. So it was Alma Thomas, 1943, applied to an art school. And she was in her 50s, well into her 50s, a little bit older than most of the students, or older than all of the students. And she wasn't accepted. Now, no one really knows the reason why. Some have speculated that she might have been rejected because of her age, because most of the students were half her age. Others thought it could have been because she was black, and no one knows the whole story, so I'm not going to pile on. I don't know the reason. But we do know this: she was not admitted. Now, it would be easy to stop right there. She could have felt rejected and quit with her dream of learning how to paint. And she had a lot of reasons not to go forward. Her life was kind of rough, as I read about her. But she didn't quit. She didn't just quietly go away. She boldly painted. So I spent some time looking at her paintings this week. You can Google them yourself and see a lot of them. And I like them. I like the colors. I like all of them. So you could do that too. Maybe I'm the one who's in the dark. You might not. You might know of her. But anyway, Alma painted, as you can see, very vivid colors, vibrant, explosive fields of color. Some thought that her paintings looked like stained glass windows. They don't look like that to me, but they're beautiful. I like them. She herself called them exuberance. And even though she lived through, in her lifetime, that would be two wars, and her story is one where she suffered some deep personal losses. It didn't look like the world was rooting for her talent, as I mentioned, and it didn't look like the world was rooting for her brilliance either, or her art. But the thing that's wonderful is, years later, her work was found hung in the White House. Decades after her death, NASA, this space company, even named a spacecraft after her. So I thought that was very cool. And so the reason I'm telling you her story is the world wasn't ready for her. It wasn't ready for her art. And it seems as though it tried to dim her light. But she was really good, and it couldn't dim her light. She didn't let a closed door define her either. And she didn't let rejection, and she experienced a lot of rejection, stop her from becoming radiant. She decided her light still had a place to shine in the world. And because of the power of her decision and her determination, it shined, and it continued to shine. And her art has been a part of some of the huge collections throughout the world. So she's a good person. We can look to her all, and we can make a similar decision. We can decide also. And we might not be painting galaxies on a canvas, but each of us get to decide in different ways. I know all of us have been through a lot. We've survived things that might have broken other people. But here's the thing I know about you, those of you who are practicing this teaching. You might have carried some grief. You might have carried shame, rejection, fear. But somehow, some way, you're still here. You're still practicing. You're still affirming the positive life, the affirmative life. And there's still a glow. There's still a spark of truth within you. And I can see it in you. And we say namaste. We know it's there. Louise Hay said, every thought we think is creating our future. And today, I want to take that even further Because every time we take back a false belief, something we've been hanging on to, and we replace it with truth, every time we take back one of those false ideas and we replace it again with something, an idea that's true, healing begins. So we're not just healing wounds this evening. We're brushing off layers of shame, layers of fear that really never belonged to us. It's just we took them on. We're taking back the messages that we inherited, the energy we absorbed, the stories we believed that whispered, I'm not enough. But here's the truth always. You have always been enough. You have always been more than enough. You may not have realized it, but you always have been. You're radiant. You're one with the one. You are the light that they couldn't dim. Your family couldn't do it. Your failures didn't do it. Not even the worst times you've ever been through in your life. The real you, the inner glow is still absolutely there. So this evening, this class is designed to find it, to remember it. Not because you need it to be something new, but more because you're ready to remember what's really true about yourself. So let's move into what I'll call the clearing. Now that we've remembered the light is in us, and now that we remember that the truth has always been there all along the way, let's talk about the things that get in the way. Because even when we know better, sometimes these old feelings come up. Even after we've done a lot of work on ourselves and we think we're done with something completely, I say there's always something there that seems to pop up again. So I take it a day at a time. One thought at a time. We've done work on ourselves, but from time to time, things do come up. And these old feelings and old ideas come up. And not because we're broken, not because there's anything wrong with us, but we've been trained to forget our brilliance. People didn't tell us all through our life how great we are. There are 3 patterns in particular I want to mention this evening. 3 shadows that have a way of dulling our inner glow if we don't notice them and deal with them. And the first is shame. Okay. Shame isn't really the same thing as guilt, because guilt will say, I did something wrong. Shame will say something like, there's something wrong with me. Shame shows up when you don't want anyone to know how, say, messy your house is, or when you catch your reflection and you hear that cruel inner voice that says, my goodness, you've let yourself go, or, that type of thing. Shameful ideas where the feeling says, if they really knew me, they'd walk away. They wouldn't want to know me. Now, some people feel shame about even needing help, thinking they should be able to do this on their own, or about struggling. They're ashamed of struggling with a habit, whatever the habit might be. Or they might feel shame because they've lashed out at someone they love and they don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to make it right. Or they might feel shame because deep down they feel like they're just too much, or the other way, they feel like that they don't make the grade, they're not enough. But let me say clearly in tonight's gathering, shame isn't the truth of who you are. It's not a lesson you need to keep learning either. Okay? Shame isn't your identity, and it never was. It's another one of these old stories that seem to go round and round. It's a lie that has been passed down, maybe by someone who was carrying their own pain. The thing is, you don't need to hold on to it anymore. This is the time where I'll say to you, you're allowed to release it. I invite you to release it. I ask you to, for your own sake. You're allowed to release it. You're allowed to outgrow it. You're allowed to say, this is not mine. I release it. This is not true. And you're allowed to say, I don't live here anymore. Again, this is not mine. This is not true. I don't live here anymore. Now, of course, if we've made a mistake, we can take responsibility, and then we can go about cleaning it up. But Louise would say this: Guilt is a totally useless emotion. Still, guilt has a way of lingering even long after we've learned whatever we've needed to learn. Maybe you feel guilty that you didn't call someone back. It could be a friend or a family member, and it's been too long. Or maybe you feel guilty that you yelled at somebody in traffic, or it could have been your neighbor or your friend, someone you care about, and you just have this sense of feeling guilty. Or maybe you feel guilty because you ignored someone who was reaching out to you. Maybe it was someone in pain. Or maybe the guilt is more internal. You might feel guilty for wanting something for yourself, and then you're feeling guilty or embarrassed. Maybe you feel guilty for wanting space, for wanting the freedom to walk away. Maybe you're feeling guilty because you want to be free of a whole situation. You want a new beginning. The thing about guilt is it doesn't help us move forward. It just keeps us stuck in this loop, going around and around the same old ground, hoping it might change the past, and it never does. But guilt doesn't heal. The only thing that heals is love. And the third thing I want to mention tonight that seems to get in the way a lot is this whole idea of rejection, and this one runs really deep. For many of us, the message came early. Being fully yourself, expressing yourself, isn't wanted, or it isn't safe. Maybe as a child you were told to be quiet, or to calm down, or to not feel so much or show so much, to become a little bit more normal, to become more manageable, to become a little bit less you, is what you were being told if you were given those messages. So what we did when we were younger is we adapted to the expectations that were around us. We became the people we thought other people wanted us to be. We got good at being agreeable, acceptable. We also shrunk. We got good at staying small. And we did all this to make other people comfortable or to feel safe. And even when we did so at the expense of our own aliveness. Some of us learned to get quiet. Some of us became invisible. Some of us became experts at scanning the room, figuring out what was needed and wanted, figuring out what version of ourselves would be accepted in our family or wherever we were. And some of us did just the opposite. Some of us got loud, some of us acted out, some of us pushed people away because we didn't know how else to say, see me, love me, accept me. And still, now we are adults. Now as adults, we hold back. We don't feel safe to be ourselves sometimes. Even now, all these years later, we will second guess ourselves. Sometimes we question our own worth, even now. And at times we feel awkward if we want to be honest about it. And we keep trying to manage how much of ourselves we're going to allow to show up anywhere. All because somewhere deep inside, that old belief is still running, that Louise spoke about. I don't feel okay about who I am. That old belief that says, if I show them who I really am, they'll run, they'll leave, they'll abandon me. But here's the truth for this evening. The real you, the spectacular you, the you with your real self-worth is not too much. Your real self is not a problem. Your real self is not a problem to be fixed. It's really something to be celebrated. You don't need to manage your spirit to be lovable. In fact, your real self is sacred. It's the part of you that's whole. It's the part of you that's authentic. It's the part of you that's worthy. It's the part of you that's radiant. Even if no one ever told you that before, it's still true. You are a spark. You are one with the one. You are an individualization of this spark, of this divine light. So that's the part of you that's really most wonderful. So if you haven't been told that before, I'm telling you that now. And the other thing, I'm thinking like the artist I was speaking of, sharing with you, you've lived through a lot. even if you've gone through a lot, you've experienced rejection, all these doubts and things, fears, everything you've been through, you don't have to hide anymore. Those parts of you, and what about those parts of you that still feel tender? Well, they're often the parts of you that are most needed in the world right now, because the world doesn't really need any more people pretending to be okay. It doesn't need any more people wearing a mask, a social mask, or more people acting like they got it all together. What the world needs, actually, is people who have remembered their light. The world needs people who are self-actualized, or people who at least know that they're moving towards that. The world needs people who realize I'm one with this one power, and I'm evoluting, I'm growing, and I'm learning. The world needs people who are willing to be real, people who know who they are. That's one of the beautiful things about these classes, is we're always reminding you of how great you are, that you are an inlet and outlet of this fantastic energy, this spiritual, and you are a spiritual activity. You're a human being, and you're evolving and growing. We need people who are no longer afraid to live from a place of that knowing. So that's who we're waiting to see. That's who the world is waiting to see. We're waiting to see we're waiting to see how you look when you glow without apology. I mentioned before in this lesson, in other lessons, that your healing, by the way, is not just for you. As we heal, we're creating a ripple effect. The thing is to remember you're one with everybody. So as I'm healing myself, but I'm healing others as well, because we're all in this together. We're creating a ripple, we're creating a wave, and as you heal your life with every single step, you're giving an invitation to everyone around you, to everyone to stop hiding, to stop and to start living. So don't play small, don't dim your light, don't wait for the world to catch up to you. Be that thing that you're looking for, be the glow. And if you've ever wondered whether you're on time or you're still on time, you are. You're right on time. One of the things you'll hear me say, a spiritual axiom, that you're in the perfect place at the perfect time. So you're on time. If you've ever doubted whether your light matters or whether it still matters, it does. And if you've ever asked yourself whether it's too late to be who you really are, it isn't. It's not too late. Because here's the truth. The final chapter has not been written. Your final chapter has not been written, nor is mine. Not even close. Who you've been, what you've been through is only part of the story. Who you're becoming, well, that's still unfolding, and you get to shape it. You're caused your own experience. Starting here, starting now, you get to shape your experience. So maybe this evening, hopefully, you begin to imagine yourself as something fantastic, something new, with a life that reflects who you really are, a reality that honors your heart, with a path where you just don't survive, a path where you choose to shine. Maybe tonight, maybe this evening, you begin to imagine something really new for yourself. Again, a path where you shine. As Louise reminded us again and again, we've been criticizing ourselves for years, and she said it doesn't work. It doesn't work well at all. So her suggestion is try approving of ourselves and see what happens. That's what this evening's message is about. Approving. I love accepting, approve of myself. Constantly approving, always releasing the negatives, and accepting ourselves as we are. She would say in one of the lyrics to one of the songs, I love, accept, and approve of myself exactly as I am. And then the other thing, one is remembering and forgetting. That's what we do. So this class and all of our gatherings are to remember who you are. You are one with the one. You have everything you need. So accepting that greater vision of yourself and allowing that true self to rise You're not here to hide. You're not here to be hidden. You're here to shine. You're here to glow. So let me anchor that new vision, that expanded vision with affirmative prayer. Right here and right now, I recognize the truth of who I am. I'm not broken. I'm not behind. I'm not unworthy. I'm whole. I'm radiant. I'm free. I'm complete. I release the old beliefs, one and all, every last belief that suggests I'm something less than wonderful. All the old beliefs that told me to hide, I let go of the guilt. I let go of the shame. I let go of all of that stuff that shaped me into someone else's image of what's okay. I give back the stories, one and all, that were never mine to carry or hold on to. I step into my own light. I claim my space. I honor the glow. I honor the glow that's lived in me all along. And like Alma Thomas, our painter, I choose color. I choose beauty. I choose to be seen. I remember that I'm part of something greater. I remember that life itself moves through me. I remember that I'm needed. I remember that I'm enough. And as Ernest Holmes said, there is a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. I trust that every step I take is guided and inspired, that I'm supported in my healing and celebrated in my becoming. And so I now choose to live from that place of truth. Not someday, not later, but now, right now. I'm glowing again. So you could say that to yourself. I'm glowing again. I'm rising. Glowing again, I'm rising. And I'm ready. And so it is. So let's take a breath together. And let's settle in. Let all of that wonderful information settle in. You've done beautiful work this evening, deep work, as you recall, all of this. And now, as we always do on Thursdays, we open up the floor and we turn the energy over to you, the cameras. This is your time to share, to reflect. I usually ask, what has it been like being you this week? It's your time to share what's come up for you this week. Maybe something that I mentioned clicked tonight. Maybe it'll be something someone says in the chat. Maybe there's something that you really want to let go of. Maybe you think it's time. Maybe you just want to speak what's coming up, or speak your truth out loud in a space where it can be heard. Or maybe you're here to listen and be part of just the energy of our wonderful group, which is its own kind of healing. Whatever you choose to do, I'm glad you're here. Your presence is important. You're part of this glow, this glowing energy. You're part of this healing, and I'm glad you're here. So let's open the floor. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the work we do here. And so it is.